Welcome to the Mental Mantle, the show where we dive into the authentic thoughts of men. I am Chutney Young, your host, and I am pumped to have you here. This is your space to hear honest, no fluff conversations from the mind of a man. Here we open up, we let go of the pressures, and build a community of men who are not afraid to express their thoughts and just be. Well, welcome to the Mental Mantle.
Thank you. Thanks for having me. I appreciate it.
So before we dive in, if you could just give the audience a little description about yourself, like a mini bio.
So mini bio, of course my name is Monty Hodges. Monte Carlo is my full name. But I go by Monty from Blytheville, Arkansas, north of Osceola. And I'm a banker. Been a banker for a little bit over 30 years. I dabbled in politics for a little bit, served in Arkansas House for about 10 years. Prior to that, served on the Blytheville City Council. And I'm an entrepreneur, have several businesses in the city of Blytheville, but I live in Marion, so I work for our Southern Bancorp Bank branch in Marion, Arkansas. Yeah.
So 30 years in the business.
Yes.
What does that profession look like? What does that look like as a businessman? 30 years.
Wow, 30 years in banking. And actually it's the only career I've ever had. My major was business with an emphasis in economics and finance, and so went straight to work for a bank when I was just 22 years old. And so it's been a great career. Being able to majority of my time in banking has been in lending.
Yeah.
So being able to provide people with things they need has been a blessing. And now I'm doing a little bit on financial literacy. I've taken all that knowledge that I've gained over 30 years. Mm-hmm. I saw the need for financial literacy in this free economy that we live in. That's one of the least taught things.
Yes.
And so I just felt compelled. I felt a mandate to really share financial literacy and wealth building, particularly here in the Delta,
yes,
where we see a lot of poverty, a lot of generational poverty. And what you don't know, you just don't know.
Yeah.
And so I've been doing a little 5-minute. I have a little 5-minute live every Monday. It's 5 minutes with Monty. I'm just dropping 5 nuggets on financial literacy. I'm dealing with savings right now and the importance of saving and putting away for a rainy day and budgeting and credit and things of that nature. So it's been great to be able to share that and build others and make those deposits in others so they can navigate better when it comes to their money.
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
So, as a black man in this space, how has that been for you?
Wow, if you look at the history of banking, if you look at you're not going to see a lot of black, brown folk, particularly in officer positions and things of that nature. We know that systemic racism still exists. We know that there's a wealth gap. We know that the fact that I'm probably going to be paid $1 million less over my lifetime than my white counterparts, and we know that black-owned businesses lack capital. That's reason a lot of them fail. That is just our reality, and so my goal is to particularly, I want to see us all rise, and I want to see, people that look like me acquire wealth, and to not have to turn that television on and ooh and ah over a Oprah Winfrey or a Tyler Perry, but they can write the vision, they can make the vision plain,
yes,
they can become entrepreneurs, and just giving the tools and giving the things that they need and directing them to the resources. It's just, I feel like it's an obligation.
Yeah, it's an obligation. So speaking on obligations and saying that as an obligation, you kind of dealt in politics.
Absolutely.
So what has inspired you to kind of get into the political lane, I guess you could say?
Yeah, I served on city council for 4 years, which was tough. I think serving municipal government is tougher than state government or federal government. But I served on the city council for 4 years, and just felt that my hands were tied on being effective.
Yeah.
You know, I'm sure that I know I implemented some things, did some things that helped, but the seat came open, was District 55 at the time. It's now District 34. They redistrict, gerrymandered the district. But anyways, when that came open, I thought to myself, you know what? I think I can help this corner of the state on a broader scale and be more effective on a state level.
Yeah.
And so prayed about it and took off on this journey of for the State House. So the city council position just kind of sparked something in me. And then and I knew that, okay, I got to do more. I got to roll my sleeve up. This serving is part of my DNA.
Yes.
You know, I've been called to do this work after I stuck my toe in the pond, and I was like, this is what I need to be doing. So won and a runoff, and served for 5 terms. So the people in District 55 sent me back 5 times and served 10 years. And I actually had three more terms to serve, but decided that I'd done my part, and it was time to move on to something else. And ran for U.S. Congress, of course, and stepped out on faith, and that was a challenge, but it was a great experience, and we'll do it all over again.
Do it all over again. So in the 10 years, what were some of your most passionate issues?
Criminal justice reform.
Criminal justice reform
is one that I'm still extremely passionate about. Ensuring that the laws are fair, the punishment should fit the crime. I was really big on that. Was able to get some legislation done to change some of these laws that are felons that just shouldn't have been. They should be misdemeanors. Get them downgraded to misdemeanors because of course when you have felony on your record, it's hard. You can't get driver's license, or it's hard for you to rent an apartment, hard for you to get jobs, things like that. And so I felt like we were creating more of a problem than we were a solution. Right. And I believe that we should be finding out solutions, not making problems for people. And so criminal justice issues is something that I was extremely passionate about, ensuring that we were fair and the laws were fair. And that's some heavy hauling when people don't have that empathy, when you have your colleagues that just want to lock everybody up. And so that was one of the things that I was extremely passionate about, ensuring that that our criminal justice, that I shed light on the issues when it comes to criminal justice. Yeah.
Well, thank you. So are there any personal experiences? Before the show, we had a little rivalry going on between Osceola and Blytheville. I forgive you.
Okay. All right.
But are there any personal experiences, people from the community that you've helped, that associated personally?
What? We had a guy. There's a guy in Blytheville, and he fell in that, back when they had the laws, 3 strikes you're out. That was horrible. And he was a repeat offender. So his last offense, he sold marijuana. I don't think it was $250 worth of marijuana. He had been incarcerated for when I got elected, he had already been in jail over 20 years. And for some reason, he just fell on my heart. So I called his family up, and I was like, okay, he's been in jail a long time. Yes. Did he commit murder? And they was like, no, it was a drug offense. So I began to research him and found out it was just a drug offense, but he was a repeat offender, so he fell in that category and so he got sentenced. So we worked on him and the former administration, and then I worked on him with the current administration, and to try to get him out, get him pardoned out. And finally, after 30 years, his pardon was granted, and he got out after 30 years. He's doing well. Awesome. His family owns the business in Blytheville, and a long-standing business, and he's doing great. And let me tell you, that was something. I mean, I'll never forget that day when his family called me and said they granted him his pardon. And so that was a blessing. And Wrightsville 21. I don't know if you're familiar with the Wrightsville 21. 21 young men were burned at a, it's now a correctional facility in Wrightsville, Arkansas, but it used to be a juvenile detention
yes,
center.
I did. heard about
They
that.
locked it from the outside.
Outside.
They couldn't get out. 60 years had passed and nobody recognized these young men. One was actually from Blytheville. That's what started this journey of me checking into it, because I was going to recognize that one from Blytheville and get his family down to the Capitol and all that. And then I realized that they hadn't recognized the 21. Even some of the legislators that were in the House that had young men at the time didn't even know about it. They didn't know they had. So I passed a resolution recognizing them on the House floor and apologized to the family that it took 60 years for us to say that we're sorry. And I know they can't bring them back, and so we will never forget what happened on that day. And so, that's something extremely proud of.
That's awesome. So hats off to you.
Thank you.
For the work that you've done serving the state of Arkansas for over 10 years. So kudos to you for that.
Thank you. Appreciate it.
And so I know, the glitz and the glams and the impact and all of that you have on people. There's an opposite side to it. So being in the spotlight, sometimes criticism come with that. Struggles come with that. What did you have to overcome?
Oh my God!
That?
It's part of the process. It's part of the journey. I didn't always have that tough skin. I didn't always understand. Once I got older, I realized that. But nobody asked me to get into politics. Nobody asked me to be up front. And actually, I tell people all the time, I'm actually an introvert, to be honest with you. Can you believe a politician is an introvert? I'm really an introvert, but I have a extroverted anointing on my life.
Come on now.
So I'm an introvert with an extroverted anointing. So I was built, before the foundation to do what I do. And I've been called to do what I do. So, and I realized, the preacher in me is going to come out, that there's no weapon formed against me shall prosper, that many are the afflictions of the righteous, but God delivers them from them all, that I'm covered, that God has me. And so that keeps me focused, that keeps me going. Even when the attacks come and when they came, I realized that, you can't do anything to me that God does not allow. And actually, it built character in me, and it has built resilience and stamina and tough skin. And the fact that, although I go through the valley, I go through it, I'm coming out on the other side.
Coming out on the other side.
Yeah.
Awesome.
So it's built me. It was everything has been necessary. It all has been necessary.
Yes. And sometimes just being professionals and being in some of these roles. As you were kind of speaking before the show, some people don't understand their purpose. And so not understanding your purpose, something like that would take you out. The Mental vlog is dedicated to providing men with a safe space to share his experiences, to talk openly about the things that matter most to men. Your mental mantle is symbolic of identity, your footprint, valid expression of your guiding principles and beliefs that shapes authentic actions and decision making. It's your path for legacy. So speaking of purpose, what is purpose and how does one find their purpose?
Wow, that's a great question. I think I think you have that inner peace when you're walking in your purpose. I think you have to seek it out. I don't think you're ever satisfied until you begin to walk in purpose, and you need to walk in it on purpose. I know that studies show that most heart attacks and strokes happen on Sunday nights or Monday morning, and the reason they do because people hate going to their jobs, and that sense of being unfulfilled. And that frustration comes because they're not really doing their life's work or walking in purpose. And so I think you just know. I know my lane. I don't second guess my lane. I know it. I know what my life's purpose is. It took a minute to find it out what it was, but I have that inner peace. And I don't try to get in your lane because I know my lane.
Yeah.
So I think you know what you know, and I think you need to be intentional because you're here for a purpose, and you need to find out what it is so that you can truly walk it out and be fulfilled.
Yeah. I agree with that.
Yeah.
Because not being at peace has been a real thing for many people, myself included.
Absolutely.
At times. Because, of course, when you're not doing what you're supposed to do, like you said, you would not be at peace. And so the times that, you said it took you a minute to get it, you weren't at peace. How have you dealt and managed emotionally when you weren't at peace?
Really, getting out of my head,
Getting out your head.
processing, and doing what I need to do
Yep.
to get to that proper headspace and to begin to, faith without works is dead.
Yep.
So you have to put the work in. You have to, I'm going back to my preaching stuff. The Bible says that what we do in private, God will reward us out in the open.
Yes.
So what we've been called to do, we have to perfect that craft behind the scenes.
Yeah.
Read the data. Read the material. Do your homework and begin to download yourself with the things that you need for your purpose-driven life. And then once you begin to put that in motion, the world will see God's super on your natural because you put the work in.
That's right.
He's gonna honor that.
Yeah.
So that's how I had to process. So 2024 was nothing but a year of self-development. After I identified what my life's work was, once I identified my purpose at 52 years old,
52.
now 53, God spoke to me and said, insanity is doing the same thing, expecting a different outcome. So if we want to grow in any area of our lives, financially, if we want to grow in our relationship with our spouse, if we want to grow spiritually, it constantly takes tweaking. It comes, you can't continue to do the monotonous cycle and think things going to change because if you keep doing what you've been doing, you're going to keep getting what you're going to get. So we have to constantly tweak and be stretched and grow and expand and challenge ourselves in order to go to that next level. Yeah. And so after he spoke that to me in 2023, I began to put it into work in 2024. And now the manifestation is taking place in 2025.
Awesome.
Fruition.
Yes.
Manifestation. Everything that I've been laboring behind the scenes is coming to fruition in 2025.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So are you at a place where you want to talk about it? Are you at a place where you want to talk about your life work?
No.
No.
Yeah,
and I understand that. That's why I asked.
The masses will see it.
Yes.
Yeah, the masses will see it.
In its timing.
Yeah, in its timing. Yeah.
Yeah.
So we on the lookout.
Yeah, be on the lookout.
Yeah.
Awesome.
Yeah.
So the preach in you, I've heard it the whole conversation. Yeah. At what point in your life did this start?
Ooh, so I got ordained. I got ordained over 15 years ago, not longer, and really kind of got engrossed in politics, which is a calling, which is ministry within itself. I think anything that we do is ministry in our profession, all that. If we view it that way, because the Bible teaches us to do whatever we do as to giving glory to Him. And so I think that that was my journey has been all ministry, but I kind of put that mantle aside, throughout this process. And actually, when 2023, when God was saying, insanity is the definition of doing the same thing, expecting a different outcome, I really, I began to really say I really have been stagnant spiritually, and I want to grow spiritually, and I started developing that hunger and thirst for righteousness again. and to building people and you know, not necessarily behind the pulpit, but just letting people know the love of Christ and that they're important, that they're wonderfully and fearfully created, and to hold your head up and feel good about yourself because you're a representative of God, and that God desires for you to have wealth and you know, quit dumbing down because you need to represent Him well.
Right.
You know, provoking folk to thinking differently.
Yeah.
You know, because you know how we've been programmed in church.
Yes.
You know, in some churches, you know, teach, you know, kind of feel that if you're busted and disgusted, then that's salvation. If you're struggling, that you know, I've come on the rough side. I've come up on the rough side of the mountain. No, God said, you speak to that mountain.
Yeah.
You know, that I don't have to, just that hunger and thirst to really provoke people to thinking differently, even from a spiritual standpoint, is just in my heart.
Yep.
It's in my heart. So yeah.
Yeah.
That's my foundation. My spiritual life is my foundation. I realize that I would not be who I am today if it were not for a big Abba Father.
Yes.
You know, I know that, and I give Him all the credit.
Amen.
Yeah.
So speaking of your foundation, what was it like growing up? What was your experience growing up?
Yeah. I grew up in a single parent home. My mom and dad divorced when I was young. Domestic violence took place in my home.
Yeah.
So I saw that coming up. Really kind of screwed me up.
Yeah.
Emotionally and mentally coming up for a long time to see, let's read the Tina Turner said, "What love got to do with it? Love shouldn't give me a black eye."
Right.
But seeing that coming up, that was my reality. Hearing things broken, and you and your other three siblings are in the bedroom with the door shut. So crying because you hear your mom being attacked, and this is not taking anything from my dad because we have a great relationship now.
Yes.
He's a grown man now. He identified his issues, and we talk. We've had great dialogue about it, and he's healed.
Yes,
and I'm healed.
Yes,
and he sought forgiveness from my mom before she left this earth. So it's been a beautiful thing, and I can share that testimony, and without making him look bad, because he's a wonderful guy, and we have a great relationship now. But anyway, so seeing that coming up, and my mom working hard to raise 4 kids. She worked extremely hard to provide us the things that we needed. You hear oftentimes people say, I didn't realize I was poor because she did. She worked hard at a factory to provide. So I got a strong work ethic from her, and she was so compassionate. And love people, and I definitely picked up that. And I don't like controversy, and I picked up some of those characteristics that I had. So I had to get tough a little bit, because you're gonna have controversy, you have things like that. But yeah. So I have a older sister, an older brother, and I have a younger sibling, and so raised by a single parent mother who just worked hard to ensure that we had food on the table. She cooked. I mean, she cooked big meals all the time, and just set a good example for us, and left a great legacy. So,
So, how did that impact the man and the husband that you are now?
So, actually, like I said, it definitely affected me emotionally and psychologically. I could not watch a television show where a man hit a woman without a hate and a rage that come over me toward my dad. Yeah. The movie Burning Bed, I don't know if you, Farrah Fawcett, I acted her butt off in that movie. Yeah. And I remember watching that movie and being just so angry and just had a hate for my dad. And I'm 53 now, and I forgave him when I was 30 and moved on and didn't have to have any questions answered, was free from that. But anyways, and so, emotionally, I was kind of, just all over the place, and I brought that. I got married when I was 22, so a lot of that emotional craziness, those highs and lows, and the roller coaster that I didn't know was due to a lot of that upbringing. What I saw, what I felt. Now, was I ever abusive? I would not
Yeah.
touch a woman if somebody put a gun up in my head.
Right.
I mean, matter of fact, if I see a man mean to a woman now, I have to kind of watch. Like, dude, don't talk to her like that.
Right.
Don't talk to that queen like that.
Right.
So yeah, early on it was kind of crazy, but through my spiritual walk and therapy,
Yes.
Jesus and therapy.
Jesus and therapy.
I've overcome that hurdle.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah. Amen. Yeah. I know a lot of times people want to downplay both sides.
Yeah.
Jesus, people want to downplay it. In
Yeah.
therapy, people
Yeah.
want to downplay
Yeah.
it. But I feel like they can run one in the same.
Absolutely.
You know, God gives us the wisdom to operate and function in these roles in this position as a therapist, especially if it's your calling. Because some people, it's their calling.
That's right.
To be in that industry. And so I commend you for taking on that mantle,
Oh, yeah.
getting the help practically and spiritually. So
Yeah.
kudos.
Thank you.
Kudos
Absolutely.
to you for that. So this is a piece that is so important. You've been married for over 30 years.
Over 30 years, yeah. 32.
Over 30 years.
Yeah.
And so how has she supported you in this journey?
Let me tell you, I could not, and I tell her this all the time. I don't think I could, if I searched the world over, would find a better spouse. I mean, this woman has, has been a rock.
Yeah.
And granted, she's been through hell and back herself.
Yeah.
That's when she's the woman she is in her lifetime. And so she has been my biggest supporter, biggest fan.
Yeah.
She knows if something comes to me, an ideal or something that I want to pursue, she gets behind me as if she was doing it.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? And granted, the spouses are close to your heart. So she's felt all the trauma and all the attacks that I've gone through as a politician. She felt that.
Yes.
So I have to guard her. So I'm her covering, and really, and let me share this. So I told you self-development. I've been all of 2024 was self-development, and so I was in my study. I get up early in the morning. I get up about 4:00 almost every morning, 4:30, and that's my time to get my day going. And I committed. I made a vow that the whole month of March is committed to my marriage, to my relationship, so I'm reading books on relationships. I'm reading books on how to have better sex.
Amen.
I'm reading books on because I'm married.
You're married.
And so I'm committed to the month of March, nothing but relationship.
Yes.
If I can perfect being good with money or perfect being good at this, my covenant needs to be right.
Yes.
And I know we're better together when we're walking in sync. We can conquer the world. You know what I'm saying? And so that's all. And I even shared it with her. She may see this podcast. I'm not going to even tell her. She'll just see it. She'll see it in my actions. She'll see it in what I do. But the whole month of March is just committed to my marriage and all that. So yeah.
I love that.
Yeah.
I remember even in dating, I remember this guy was just like, you must not want me to have a career. And I was like, no, I think the work that you put into your business development, it should be the work that you put into your relationship.
Absolutely.
So if you want to reach marriage, you got to put in some work.
Absolutely.
If this is how you're going to be now, this is how you will be, in a marriage. And so over your 30 years, she's been your support. She's been all these things for you. What has it been like in the highs and the lows, I guess you could say?
Right. Really, to be honest with you, the lows are the things that really makes us closer, to be honest with you.
Yeah.
I don't even want to go through lows, but
Yeah.
but those are things that really bring us really closer together as we don't go separate ways when things get tight. We actually come together and make our way through it. One thing we've vowed not to do is say the the D word in our house. You know, because life and death in power of tongue.
That's right.
There's been times that we may have contemplated it, but it never came out verbally in our household. And what I do is that I know her calling, and I know who she is as a strong black woman, and her purpose, and I know what I see on her life. I made it clear I don't want you walking in my shadows because God made you your own individual self. It made you for a purpose, so you need to walk in your lane and be all that He's called you to be. So I make sure that she doesn't walk in my shadow. And she'll tell you, Monty has toughened me up because she was a little fragile when I met her. She came out of a horrible relationship. Gentle. And so I had to tell her, you know, so I had to toughen her. I think I made her a little bit too tough now because she doesn't play. Don't even play with me.
She don't play with you.
No, don't play with me. But you know, I let her walk in her lane, and you don't have to walk in my shadow. You know, be you and who God's called you to be. You know, that submissiveness thing, we got it misconstrued in how we define it.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? But yeah, she's been a rock, and she's been awesome. Yeah.
So what would you describe the scripture that says, you know, serve one unto another? How would you describe that?
I think that, you know, it's very important. What I put in her is going to be reciprocated. So it's important that we put good things in our spouses.
Yes.
That we make sure they're nurtured and they feel protected and they feel loved. Because when you put that in them, they're going to give you the world.
Yes.
It's going to be reciprocated. You know what I'm saying? So it's very important that husbands make that deposit, good deposits in their spouse if they want to get a good return.
Yes.
Yeah.
I agree to that.
Yeah.
Yeah. So we're going to go on a quick break.
Yeah.
But before we go on our break, I want to say this. I never like comparing couples, or every couple has its own purpose.
That's right.
But if I had to say y'all were the relationship goals, I think people would think you guys were the relationship goals. You're both very fashionable. Like you said, she doesn't walk in your shadow. When I see you guys, it's like it's a true definition of equal. A true definition of equal, but she does her own thing.
Right. Yeah.
She has her own thing going on, and then you both show up together.
Yeah.
You're both fashionable. You know, you both love the Lord.
Yeah.
You're yourself in any environment that I've seen you in.
Right.
If it's a party, a celebration, any environment. So, you know, I appreciate that. I love what I see.
Thank you.
You're truly an example, and I appreciate you guys. And tell her I said
Far
thank
from
you.
perfect, but perfect for one another. Yeah.
But perfect for one another.
Thank
But
you.
when you can be in a display, that's what matters.
Yeah.
The imperfections don't matter.
Right.
It's you represent very well.
I appreciate
So
that.
I thank you guys. Tell her I thank you. And then we're going to go on this quick break, and then we'll be back.
All right.
With relatable guests, inspiring stories, and actionable advice, this show is here to support men to hold his story outside of his head. So welcome back.
Thank you. Good to be back.
Yeah. So we've talked about you as a professional. We talked about you, you know, as a man of faith, as a husband. So now the father, you and your wife are adoptive parents.
Absolutely.
What does that experience entail?
Oh man, that's been the biggest blessing. You know, I remember when we adopted our son. He's six and a half months old. He's now 16. Very smart. All AP honor classes. Doing very well. Big in robotics, but he's been the biggest blessing. I remember calling a friend of mine who was adopted, who is now a CEO of a billion-dollar financial institution, which is very few and far in between. And I asked him, he's an attorney, when should I tell my son that he's adopted? And he said, the sooner the better. He said, you know, he was 8 at the time, I think. And so I remember sitting down at the table telling him he was adopted. And he kind of looked at us and he's like, I kind of figured that. And but the advice he shared with me, he said, when you share the story to him, tell him that he's so special that he was handpicked. So that's what we share with. We were like, you know how special you are. You were we selected you. You were handpicked. You know, and so that was a great moment. And just to see his face, he was like, okay, that's fine, And so I definitely, he's definitely a confident young man, and not those insecurities and that, So he's been known he's adopted for a long time.
Yeah.
That's been a blessing. I couldn't imagine what environment he would have been in had we not gotten him.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So did he expound on how he kind of figured when he said, well, I kind of figured that? Did he?
And then I'm like, how did you figure? He said, I just kind of felt it. He said, I just kind of felt it.
Yeah.
I was okay. And so, we're just glad, we were just relieved to, because kids can be cruel.
Yeah.
And so we wanted him to hear from us
Right.
as soon as possible before he heard it. Some person, mean kid,
Right.
Shared that with him.
Yeah.
So he's just as much ours.
Yes.
If my wife can see him herself. Yeah.
Yeah. So, did you share the experience with him, like how you were led to adopting him? Was it through an agency? Was it through someone?
So it was through
person?
state. It was through the state of Arkansas. Yeah, through DHS and state of Arkansas. And so he knows the story. He knows. We told him who his mom. And all that history, and even said when you are at the age where you want to pursue, because he has other siblings that were taken away at birth because she had drug issues, and so when he's an adult or when he's at a certain age, he can pursue those if he has any additional questions. But we're pretty open and candid in our household. You know what I'm saying? Because I want him to feel comfortable talking to us about anything. So we're candid. We're real candid with him and open about anything. So if he has any questions, he'll come and ask.
Yeah, he'll come and ask.
Yeah, he will.
And what has been the hardest question that he's probably asked?
What's the hardest question Jeremiah has ever asked? I can't recall one that's just really been, hard. We have to pull a lot out of him.
Yeah.
So sometimes, we ask him some tough questions. Especially now, girls are like, and he had one little girl that he really liked.
Yeah.
So we kind of drilled him on that. We can tell you really like her. Well, how'd that feel? And so they kind of, I don't know if they broke up or whatever. I said, how'd that make you feel? Were you sad to break up? Well, because he was really getting close, kind of close. So conversation of fun to have with him. And so he shares you, but you have to pull it out of him. Right. Once you get him on a roll, he's pretty open. He's pretty open about it.
So how do you instill faith in him as a kid? What does that look like as a parent to a child?
Yeah, that is a no compromise in our household, and so he since he's been with us, he's been going to church, and he learned Bible scriptures. He's been learning Bible scriptures ever since we've had him. And before he goes to bed, every night he recites Jeremiah 29:11. For I know the plans that I have for you, declares the Lord, plans to prosper you, not to harm you, plans to give you a hope in the future. And when I drop him off at school, he quotes it. So it's down in his DNA, and he's the junior armor bearer at our church. So he takes the pastor's Bible up to the thing and makes sure has his towel and make sure that he's working that and so he's been engaged in church, and he knows that foundation. He loves God. He got baptized when he was younger. He's going to a Bible camp. So he loved going to Bible camp, and all. And so definitely have plant that seed in it. Obviously, you train them up in the way they should go, and they may drift off, but
come right back.
If it's in them, it's in them.
It's in them.
Yeah.
Yep. And they'll find their way right on back home.
So that's extremely important to us. Yeah.
Awesome. So he's 16.
16.
He's going to be going into the real world soon. What do you want that to look like for him?
You know what? I would hope that. I believe that young folks can't be what they don't see. So I'm very intentional on what I do in front of him, what I say in front of him, and I hope that what we've deposited in him, an environment that we got a very structured environment for him. we've raised his time go to bed up since we gotten older because he, was 8:30, 8 o'clock now. We'll think he goes at 9. So he's a very.
I had a 9 o'clock bedtime.
Yes, and so we keep a structured environment, and so all we can do, like I said, train him up the way they should go, and hope that he navigates and goes in the right direction. I just don't believe that we should. We put on, like I said, walking in purpose that I talked about earlier. A lot of people are living out what their mama wants them to do or their daddy wants them to do.
Yes.
And that's not what they wanted to do. See what I'm saying?
Yep.
And so I'm not going to put that pressure on him. He's always said he wants to be an engineer. He's very good at math and science. He that's what he's always said. I want him to be an architect, but that's if he wants to go into engineering, that's his choice. And so I don't want you to be what I want you to be. I want you to be what God wants you to be and what you desire to be. And so I don't put that pressure on him because I think I want him to navigate through life the way he's been purposed to navigate through life.
That's right.
Yeah.
That's right. I know you mentioned him liking a girl. I've had a lot of male friends that I've just had conversations with. I was like, how did you learn how to date? How did you learn how, to love and all of those things? What does that look like with you and him? What are y'all teaching him? How to date? What does that look like?
Stay away from them fast ones. Get you a good
They're
girl.
out there. They're
Get
out
you
there.
save.
Yes.
No. So just like I said, be an example in front of them. You see the type of woman that you see how to treat your mom and how she treats me, and just find somebody that's good to you. And we talk about some intimate type stuff that he needs to know about, and that I talk about him. You can be a virgin and be a man.
Right.
I got friends that were. Yep. You can do it.
Yep.
You know what I'm saying? And that's real. That's real.
That's real.
And we have to talk to them about that. You don't have to be pressured into that stuff.
No.
You know what I'm saying? And you appreciate it later. And so we talk about things like that. I tell them, if she send you a text that's inappropriate, then she's probably not the right girl for you.
Right. And she might be sending it to some other ones.
And she may be sending some more folks. So we talk about it. Especially his mama. Woo!
I know.
She come hard with it.
Because some people think, a boy needs his father, a girl needs her mother. Kids need both parents.
Absolutely.
Kids need both.
Absolutely.
Both are just as important. Both are just as vital.
That's right.
And sometimes we don't know that that's where those voids come from in our life because we think we just need one or the other.
Absolutely.
But just because I'm a girl does not mean that I don't need my father anymore.
That's
and
right.
Just because he's a boy does not mean that he doesn't need your wife
That's right.
anymore. So, good.
And I think, really think, to be honest with you, women need to hear from men.
Yes.
Telling them the truth,
Yes.
the real.
The real.
You know what I'm saying? I think they need to hear that other than hearing it from a woman.
Yeah.
Perspective that
That's true.
There were certain standards that I was a turnoff.
Yep.
And you all think it's attractive.
Right.
So I need to let you know, no, I'm not. You're not marrying type because I'm not judging you, but that's not attractive to me.
Right.
You want and it's probably not attractive to a man who has standards. So they need to hear that.
Yeah.
And maybe
Yeah.
a lot of these girls that think that's cool.
Right.
You give me a Brahmin or $40.
40.
40. They may have raised it now, but it was 40. But that's cool. But it's not attractive at all.
Yeah. So being the man that you are, I'm sure that women.
Nobody want me. Nobody want me, Rhonda.
Because it's a thing out here.
Right.
People don't respect people's relationships, their marriages, and all those things, and they'll still try to do those things. What advice would you give to men as it relates to being in a marriage or a serious committed relationship and a woman is trying to push herself on you?
Right. You know what? That's a great question. I made a post several months back about because I had experience where women will come up and speak to me, and my wife's standing right beside me, so they'll address me and wouldn't address her, and so I said we don't operate like that.
Right.
That's disrespectful first of all, and they did it intentionally, and so a funny story. One of the legislators' wife came up to. We were out at a little event, and she came up to me and she said, "Mommy, I know women come on to you guys. Y'all legislators, y'all here at the Capitol, you're in session, you're away from your families. I know they come on to you." And I looked at her and I said, it's all in your presentation. It's all in what you give out. So if you get that, if I give that energy out that, hey, I may go there, they're gonna bring it. But if they know, I don't think Monty's gonna. So so I said, if they put that energy out there, you can fall in that temptation, but you have to be sure to guard yourself and guard your heart and make sure that I'm not, this Me Too movement, all that. I'm very, anyways. I just, I'm very careful anyways when it comes to the opposite sex because I don't want anything to be insinuated that if I touch your shoulder or something like that, and so it's all in what you put out there, because and so you don't put yourself in that position.
That's right.
You don't put yourself in that position.
That's right.
So I told her, it could possibly happen, but it's all in how you present yourself, and they know you're not going. You don't roll like that. They're gonna leave you alone.
You set the standard.
That's right. Absolutely.
You set that standard. So,
Absolutely.
We were talking about intentionality earlier. It applies here too. You have to be intentional about guarding your heart, or not even your heart, your marriage, guarding your relationships. You have to be intentional about that.
Yeah.
So
and you have to be conscious about it too.
Yes.
And I was conscious about how are you going to speak to me and not speak to me? And there probably been a time I would have just ignored it, but I had to nip it in the bud, and I have to make sure that we don't roll like that. And if you don't like her, you don't like me.
Yep.
Period.
That's right.
Because we're one.
And period,
Yeah.
as they say in the society, the culture now.
Yes.
You're one.
We're one. And so if you can't roll with her, you don't like her, don't.
Roll on.
Keep rolling.
Amen.
It is what it is.
It is what it is.
Yeah.
Yeah. I know she appreciates that.
Yeah. And I go family too.
Ooh.
Period. Yeah. I stand on that.
On family.
I stand on that.
Yeah. Setting those boundaries with family members.
You have to.
Setting those boundaries. Have there been experiences where you said, "Oh, I got to set this boundary with these family friends"?
Absolutely. It was like I said, I had to learn through experience. I had to learn, because I didn't always have that attitude.
Yeah.
And I had to get to that point. And but someone very, very, very close. I said, we're not going to. Thank God, she and my mom were super close before they were. They were super close. They had a great relationship. But I had to set some boundaries. There's not any choosing.
That's right.
We're one. We became one flesh when we said I do. That covenant is more important than my relationship with you. Although I would love to keep and have a great relationship with you, if you keep going down this route, you will not have that relationship with me. It's
forfeit in the relationship.
Huh?
They're forfeit in the relationship.
Absolutely. And so they got some act right.
That's right.
They got some act right. And then, as spiritual beings, you should know better.
Yeah.
That's fleshly stuff. So as a spiritual person, you say you got a relationship with God, you're close to God, you should know that this is not of God. This is not right. So I had to have some come to Jesus meeting with some folks and say, look, I can walk away from this family relationship because she's gonna be there when you're not.
Right.
She's gonna be wiping them tears when you're not. You know what I'm saying? She's gonna be supporting me and backing me when you're not.
Yeah.
So yeah. So I've had to put some folks in place that I was extremely close to. Yeah. And they got the memo.
They got the memo.
And they got some act right.
Good.
Yeah.
Good.
Yeah.
So you mentioned she and your mom were close. What were their
Yeah.
relationship like?
Oh, I mean, it's like a mother and daughter relationship. They were extremely close. They would sit up and, binge watch Law and Order. Oh, God. Sometime at 3, 4 in the morning.
Yeah.
Just a great relationship.
Yeah.
Talked a lot, extremely close. And, my mom was real supportive with Jeremiah. She kind of kept a good eye on him. He loved going over there. So, they had a really, really almost like a mother, pretty much a mother-daughter relationship.
30 years.
30
her
years,
mother.
and she took up for her before she took up for me.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, how did your mom's passing affect you?
That, you know what, that is an experience that, you have to really go through it to really feel it.
Yeah.
Especially when I say she raised us, so very extremely close, talked every single day.
Yeah.
Her death was unexpected, it happened quickly. And so it was like an out-of-body experience.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? So unreal and all. But the beauty of it was that we did have such a good relationship that we did, I did pour a lot of love into her, and she knew she was good, that made the blow a whole lot less impactful and then she left a great legacy, and, so I loved on her while she was here. So I had no regrets. I loved on her.
Yeah.
Big time while she was here,
That's right.
and she knew it,
Yep.
and so that lessened the impact.
Yeah. Awesome.
It doesn't lessen the fact that you still miss them,
Right.
and it's hurtful. But that's when you better enjoy them and love on them and cherish them while they're here.
That's right.
Yeah.
Yeah. So before we end, I kind of want you to talk a little bit about intentionality and the time space. I know you said you're 53. You are embarking on some new things at your age. And at first, maybe you thought that you didn't have enough time. And so God kind of spoke to you on that. And if we need to take a minute, I know you may have gotten a little emotional about your mom, so excuse me for speaking through that.
I'm good. Thanks.
So, but if you can kind of speak on that a little bit.
Yeah. Like I said, I'm very intentional.
Yeah.
Every conversation, everything that like the time is valuable. I think that's why God gets me up at 4 o'clock in the morning. Some people hitting the snooze button.
Yeah.
I'm up downloading data. I'm pouring in myself. I'm getting myself geared up for this next because I don't have time to just sit around and idly. I need to be productive and in my purpose.
Right.
And so conversations, I'm not talking about people. I'm talking about next steps. I'm talking about things that we can build on, and things of that nature. So so everything I do is intentional. I mean, I wouldn't be on this podcast if I didn't feel like it was beneficial.
Amen.
And worth my time being here. So I was intentional. I was glad that my schedule was able to accommodate that. And so I'm not sitting around. A gentleman the other day I told him I went to this black-owned business, a food business, and first thing came out of his mouth was he's about to say something negative about the business, about the food. And I stopped him and I said, first of all, don't talk about somebody's business. Secondly, it's a black-owned business and you're black. I said, not in my. You can go say something negative to somebody else, but you're not going to do that in the space that we're in.
Yes.
In my space. So I shut it down because that was an opportunity to teach him, he's the younger guy, that you don't do that.
Right.
That was intention. I was intentionally.
Yes.
And if you got mad, so be it.
Yeah.
But don't do it in my presence. You know what I'm saying? So things like that, I don't have tolerance for.
Yeah.
I don't have a tolerance for. If it's not edifying, if it's not productive, if it's not building, if it's not uplifting, if it's not causing things to be better, then I don't participate in it.
Yeah.
I don't participate in it.
That is
Period.
awesome.
It's taken me a while. Don't get, it has taken me. Wisdom has kicked in, and things of life experiences have come in, and really seeking divine guidance
Yeah.
has caused me to think a whole lot differently than I did when I was younger.
Yeah.
I would have engaged in that conversation, in the old me, but the new version of me
Right.
now, a new and improved version of Monty now.
Yes.
You know what I'm saying? So I see clear now. The
Yes.
rain is gone.
Right. You got plenty of time ahead of you.
Absolutely, plenty of it, plenty
Yes.
of it. Yeah, I told you, God can quantum leap,
Yes.
and He can do in 1 year time that we've wasted. And I've wasted a lot of time.
Yeah.
I wasted a lot of time because of fear. I wasted a lot of time because of worrying about what somebody would think about me. I really wanted to pursue fashion design, but I was didn't want to pursue it because I was worried about what people think about that line of work.
Yeah.
And so I didn't. And I talk about that as well, that, we get held back because we worry about what others think of us. But, others aren't cutting you a check.
That's right.
Others aren't, causing you to lose sleep at night and all that. We can't worry about folk. We got to step out there and do what we desire to do and what we want to do. So God can make up that
Yes.
time that we've wasted. Everything that the palmer worm, the cankerworm devoured, He can restore all that.
Yes.
And He will restore all that.
Yes.
Yeah.
Well, I know this is for the men, but I have been inspired. I have been inspired.
I
So how
appreciate
can
it.
people keep up with you?
Oh, I'm on IG. I'm on Facebook. I have a Twitter page. I'm not on Twitter very much, but I have a Twitter page that they can go to. And so I have a couple of venues. My name is Monte Carlo. Like I said, we just opened up a party venue.
Awesome.
You can rent it for parties, repasses, whatever,
Yeah.
And it's called Monte Carlo's.
Okay.
And it's at my wife and I own a strip mall, like a little plaza in Blytheville.
Okay.
And so it's located on 10th Street, 553, 555 North 10th Street.
Yes.
Check us out. mcarlosvenue@gmail.com, I think.
All right.
I think.
Well,
Anyway,
we'll make
just
sure
look
that
it
we
up.
include
Monte
it.
Carlos, yeah.
Yes.
And then my son, I got him into entrepreneurship. He has a arcade business in the same plaza at 539 North 10th Street. Arcade gaming party zone.
Yeah.
Called Jay's Place. So you can check him out. Go like him on Facebook at Jay's Place. Jay's Gaming and Party Zone. Jay's Gaming and Party. That's a J apostrophe S gaming and party zone. So yeah.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Well, kudos to you and your family on being who God called y'all to be.
Absolutely.
Yeah. So
Absolutely.
again, thank you for
Thank
being
you.
on the show today.
I
It's
appreciate
been a
you having
pleasure.
me. Yeah, it's been all
I
my
know
pleasure.
It's gonna reach far. So thank you for being here today.
Thank you so much. I appreciate it. Appreciate you.
Be it your mantle to feel safe to hold your story outside of your head. Keep discovering, keep growing, and just be.